Hello everybody, I'm Jessie D, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make the papier-mâché moons, a step-by-step tutorial. There's also going to be a supply list in the blog with a link of all the different items that I use to make these. So let's get started. So I've laid out on my craft table kind of everything that I've used. You're going to need some old paper. You can use newspaper, you can use old music sheet, whatever you find. Just paper in general. We're going to end up tearing it up into strips. You're going to also want a thin piece of cardboard. I've linked all these supplies. The cardboard will be used for the base. We have some ribbons for finishing at the end. And then I also have a box of bells that we will use as well. You're going to want some acrylic paint. I used a variety of different colors, but I used white and yellow to get the creamy moon color. And then also you're going to need masking tape, wire cutters, a pair of scissors, paintbrush, spoon, a bowl with a little bit of water in it, because for the paper macheing, we're going to use this neutral pH adhesive, and it's one part this, one part water. And then we also have precision glue that I used at the end, masking tape. We're going to want, I used a pencil, and then lastly I have my tin foil right here. So I think that's everything we need to get started. The last thing actually that you're going to want is one of these Pigma brushes. It's a pen. I use the brush one. This is what I use to do the detailing for the moon eyes and everything like that. So this you'll need at the end. Okay, so the first step that we're gonna do is I like to use my masking tape. This is a fresh roll, but whatever. I use it to create my initial circle. So what I'm gonna do here is use my mechanical pencil, and we're going to make a quick circle around the masking tape, close enough like that. It's harder to see, but in person you can see it more. And then I want to go in here and draw the moon shape, like the cutout portion of it, once I have my circle made. So I do my little nose. I'm going to do a more dramatic nose this time, with a little bit of a curvy on it. And if you mess up, that's okay. You just erase and try again. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit more pointed than my last one. So now that that's drawn, I'm going to cut out the cardboard using the scissors, and then we'll start the next step. So go ahead, grab your scissors and cut that out. So that is my moon shape. I have that all cut out. The next step that we want to do is to create the little hanger loops. So how we do that is you're going to take some wire and you're going to cut off probably a 3-inch section. So I'm going to do two of them. You're for sure going to need 2 if you want to add the bells at the bottom and you want something to hang the ribbon from on the top. But I'm also considering doing 3, just because I think it would be super cute to do a little decoration on the tip of each side of the moon. And I don't know what I want to do with that yet, but I'm going to put them on there just in case. But I wanted to be able to add more detail if I want to. So now's the time to do it instead of later. So when in doubt, add more now. And then you're going to take your mechanical pencil or the end of your paintbrush. You're going to split this in half and then hold it and then just twist it. So you want to create the loop and then twist it like that. You can use a skewer as well. I usually have skewers hanging around. They're great things to hang ornaments on. They're drying from paint. So there's the loop. So we have 1. Now I have to repeat this for the rest of them. I do want to give a quick call out. You do want to make sure that if you're using thicker ribbons on this, you do want to make sure that the loop is big enough where they can slide through easily. Otherwise, you're going to have a harder time threading it at the end. So I think I'm going to make my top one just a little bit thicker. After we have that done, the next step is we are going to tape these to the ornament. So I'm going to take a little bit of masking tape and we're just going to quickly wrap this around however we can and just tape that onto the moon. You might have to tear this to get it to wrap around the right way, but we just want to make sure that that wire is taped on. So I'm going to do one more piece from the back. Tape it right there. And then the bottom, do the same thing. And then, I didn't do this on the original one, but I'm going to try it here. You can skip this step if you want. But I am going to try taping one here because I'm interested in potentially hanging some decorations off the end. So skip this if you want to. Otherwise, if you like adding more details, try it. So now we have the wires put on. The next step, you want to grab a bunch of tinfoil. I just have like a little section and then I rip it up. But what we do now is we're going to wrap and create some 3-dimension around this, but we just kind of crinkle and then wrap the tinfoil around the moon. So I'm going to speed it up, but kind of watch my technique and then you can copy it for yourself. Okay, so one thing I want to say is that when you're wrapping the tinfoil, you might need to start taping using masking tape to just kind of tape the pieces together. They do, for the most part, hold together well with just the tinfoil wrapping around, but occasionally you'll get a chunk that needs a little bit of tape, so you can start taping if you have all the fullness that you need in that area. So now I'm finishing up the masking tape where I'm going to just cover the entire thing with it. So then we're ready for the paper mache. So just tear it into strips, cut it into things so you can cover everything smoothly with the masking tape. Okay, so once you have the whole thing taped with masking tape and kind of everything rounded out the way that you want it, next we are going to start mixing the glue together. So set that aside for a little bit, and then I think I have less than an 1/8 cup of water in there, so I'm just going to try to match the same amount to the neutral pH adhesive. So I open this up and I'm just going to put a little bit of a splash. I think that's the same amount. This is going to be more than enough for one because this stuff goes a long way. So pour it in and then you're just going to mix it. It's supposed to be 1 part water, 1 part glue. And that is literally how easy the paper mache is for this portion. I don't do anything fancy with flour or anything like that. Okay, so you just mix it then together. Creates a quick little glue pasty type thing. And then you're good to go on that. The next step that we're gonna wanna do is to tear up a bunch of little strips of the paper mache. I just take paper and I rip it up really skinny and small, and then I like to have just a variety of different sizes. Some longer pieces, some shorter pieces. I'll fast forward through this a little bit. So I think I have a bit of it, and now I want to just get started. So I'll show you a quick little example of what we're going to do. You're going to just soak it in water, wipe it off a little bit, and then lay it over the masking tape. Okay, and then you can use little extra pieces, like if something's not sitting right, just tap your finger and put it over it. So the goal is to just overlap, get the entire thing covered and have a lot of overlapping. It's a little bit messy, but that's okay. You're really just building up the paper mache one piece at a time till the whole thing's covered. So I'll speed this up. Most of you probably have done this in school already, but it's really that easy where we just have paper and the glue and water mix and layer it up. So I finished the paper mache. Now we're gonna hang it up to dry. I just take a skewer and then I'm running it through the loops and I'm gonna hang it up to let it dry. And then once it's dry, we'll start the next step. I let this dry overnight and it's completely dry now. Everything for the most part looks pretty good. The next step is going to be for me to mix up some white and some yellow, just a little dab of yellow to get that creamy off-white look. And then I'm gonna paint this. So I'll speed it up so it's not too boring. Okay, so after it's painted, I'll have to do another little layer right there, but I'm gonna let it dry, and then the next step is gonna be to pick out the color for the little hat, and then we'll paint that. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint the hat pink right here, and I usually start in the middle of the little loop at the top, and then just paint it all around. Okay, and then next also, I like to do the nose, the cheeks, and the lips to give it a little bit of that blush look. So you just add it at the top, and then I blend it out. So I have some of the cream left from the majority of the moon color. So I'm gonna put this pink here, and then I'll grab some of this and like blend it out. And then I let it hang to dry again. And once that's dry, we'll do the next step. So the next step is going to be to draw on the eyes and the mouth. I just eyeball it. The eyes should go up here somewhere. And then I'm using this Pigma brush pen. They have the other pens, but I figured out that this brush tip works the best of the Pigma. So that's what I'm going to use. And we are going to start with the eye. And then for the mouth, I put a little bit of pink tint right there. So I'm going to have the mouth cross over the middle of that. And then do the eye on this side. There we go. Okay, so after we have that done, the next step is going to be to put on our precision glue cap, and we are going to do the little bit of glass glitter at the bottom of this, which turns out really cute. So I usually will pour the glass glitter into a bowl because that's the easiest way to catch the extra. All right, so I'll just put a fat bead of the precision glue here. Open up my glitter, shake it on top. Just like that. And we'll do the other side. All right, so then I'm gonna let this dry so it doesn't fall off. And this precision glue is amazing. It dries and holds really, really nice. So once that's dried, we'll do the next step. So I'm gonna put it back onto my little setup here with my skewer, and we'll let it dry. All right, so the next step, we're gonna take the Glitterific acrylic transparent hologram glue. And this applies on clear, but it has these little flecks in it that give it a very vintagey, glittery vibe that I like. We're gonna paint everywhere with that. So I'll speed it up here for you guys, but you can watch as it goes on. Okay, so now I'm gonna let that dry, and then we're on to the ribbons and the final stuff. All right, so the final step of the project is we are gonna add some ribbons to this. So I am gonna cut 2 ribbons for the bottom and 1 ribbon for the top. All right, and then I'm also gonna grab one of my tin bells. So it comes in a big pack. I'm gonna use this one just so it matches all the others. Those are super fun to have on hand just for any craft year round, just because it adds a fun little detail and a little noise. We're gonna take the first one, loop it through. I'm gonna tie it here, and then I'm gonna do just a cute little bow. Just gonna pull the edges out a little bit and tighten it up. So that's one is done. For the bottom, I'm gonna loop the other 2 through first. I got a little paint in there, so it's gonna be a little bit harder for me to do. So I can use my skewer to poke it. And then the second one, sometimes you can do a cute little trick like this where I fold that inside of it, and it makes it easy to pull that through too. And then I just even them out. So I want it so they're about even lengths on both sides like this. And then I'm just gonna tie this one into a little bow. So I have that one, and then I'm gonna do the same on the other side. And then the last part is I'm going to open that up a little bit and then slide this through the loop as well. And voila, we are done. And that is how you make the little moon vintage moon ornament. I will also post another video when I finish the little details on the end. Once they come in, I ordered up some really cute glass star beads, so I'm going to hang them off the different two tops just for a little more detail, but I'll post that separate when it comes in so you guys can see it. Otherwise, remember to follow, like, comment, share, subscribe. That way I can keep making these videos for you all. Thanks.